What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Exchanges Andor After Show, Episode 9. Another belter Andor episode. Who would have thought? We sure did, because Andor is an absolute killer series, and we got another killer episode with Episode 9. And I couldn't be more excited to reintroduce my co-host. He's back from the dead. We found him. Parks did not kill him. He's back. Mike, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Man, I've been inside in the back of a trunk for the past 2 weeks, and it has been not been nice. Thank you, Parks, for setting me up, but I'm back. I'm back better than ever. I'm just kidding. By the way, first and foremost, shout out to freaking Parks, Artur.
Hell
He
yeah.
is the man. He stepped up to the bat, and
Shout
he
out
he just
Parks.
he just did it all, and I appreciate him. He did our thumbnails for us. And everything. I was just enamored and floored by the dedication and just love and friendship that
Yeah,
Parks provides for us, and
we
it's
love
fucking
you, Parks.
it's freaking amazing. So thank you, shout out
Seriously,
Parks,
we do.
literally. Thank you, Parks, so much, for real.
Yeah.
He's family around here, and yeah, we love
hmm
him. And then glad to be back. I'm sorry that I've been gone. Uh, Life has just been really, really overwhelming, and unfortunately, sometimes the podcast doesn't fall into the priorities of stuff, even though it's. I know, isn't that crazy? I know. Ari's very disappointed right now, but it just, it doesn't happen sometimes, and sometimes life
Yeah.
just gets the best of you, and it's just been everything's just being thrown at me, and sometimes it's just honestly it's hard juggling. It feels like I'm at the assembly line with Cassian and the rest, and sometimes you're not on the winning team. You're slipping up. You don't have every uh, all the energy going towards every part. Sometimes you just slip up. So
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's just been a wild time. And if you even notice on my Instagram, haven't been posting all that much, but I do thank you to Ari for hanging in there, being patient. We've had a lot of discussions, feisty ones and whatnot. No, I'm just kidding. They all been love and everything. But yeah, we've just so nothing's going on behind the scenes of the Stars Exchange. You can
I
stop the room.
disagree
You know what is
because
going on?
there's a third man on the podcast and he's standing right behind you.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't introduce this sexy man. I
Yeah.
apologize. Our
Who is
audio
this
listeners
sexy man behind you?
it's Cassian Andor, man. It's Cassian Andor.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. We're actually
Yeah.
going to talk about him a lot today, so it's going to be awkward with him just standing there watching us, but
I know. Do you want to
I
see?
don't know.
I don't think he wants to sit down.
He doesn't want. He's staring. We're in a staring contest right now. I feel like
Yeah.
Leia in Obi-Wan against Reva.
What is this show? We don't know anymore, but yeah.
Uh,
Welcome to the Stars Exchange.
Yeah. So pretty much what we do here is we compare two shows, The Crown and Andor, and we just talk about the parallels and comparisons between both shows. And
And apparently Ari, I have nothing to add, so that's crazy. That's the crazy
yeah.
part.
Oh man, we've had some haters in the comments lately. You guys know how it is though. It's all love around here. The hate comes. You got to deal with it. But we love 99% of you listening to this. So yeah, the haters go away. we don't want you.
Go away. All right.
Nothing but love. We
But
do
how
love all our listeners.
we do. And speaking of our listeners, and you listened to my sob story the past 5 minutes. How have you been going?
I've been good. It's been a hectic couple of weeks finishing up my college semester, all that sort of thing. But this was like honestly the first week I got to sit back and like I didn't have to like shoehorn Andor into my schedule. I was like just on Wednesday, which is when they come out for me. They come out on Wednesday for everyone, but Wednesday it's like they come out around 6 p.m. or something. I was like just so ready for it. I was like, okay, let's go, let's get this. But yeah, so which has made my viewing experience so much better. But no, I've been good, man. I've been good. I've been rewatching some Tales, doing all that. So doing work on the podcast, getting some work done and all sorts of stuff. But of course, we're here today to talk about Andor episode 9. What's the episode called? It's called Nobody's Listening.
Nobody's listening.
Yep, that's it.
Which is the definition of our podcast, but I'm just
kidding. Oh man, the poor podcast.
I know. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Anyway, let's talk about this episode because seriously,
Yes.
it was awesome. Andor is killing it. These last 4 episodes have just been insane. Every single one of them. Each week, I'm like, oh my god, they're everyone says this about this show, but when you get to the credits, you're like, really? That's it? I swear it said it went for 50 minutes. It feels like it went for about 20, but What do you think of this episode, Mike? And tell people what you thought of last week's as well, because you went here.
Let's just stick to this week.
Okay, sure.
Because last week I still have to rewatch it because I've been so busy that Star Wars has just not really been also a favorite thing of mine to do. Watch Tales, which people keep asking for my opinion on, which we'll get
You
into
don't
in
want to
another
hear it.
day.
It'll disappoint you as
No,
much as it
no,
disappointed me.
no. Anyways, we don't want that guy commenting
No.
again. We don't want that guy commenting again. That have nothing to add.
Oh, no.
Anyways, last week's episode, I was I would just remember watching like 90 minutes of Tales and then knocking out, sort of just mentally turning out my brain off and watching the Andor episode. I remember fragments, and I remember in prep because I was going to be on do the podcast with Ari here. I wrote a whole page, like a whole page, 2 pages of notes because I went back to certain parts like the Saw Gerrera stuff, and I wrote a whole bunch of notes that I mean I won't get into, but overall, I thought it was a okay episode. I have to go back, like I said, rewatch because I knocked out. I love the whole prison stuff. Like that was cool. It was a different type of prison than we've seen in Star Wars. Kind of reminded me of the Citadel from Clone Wars, in a way, but differently. I don't know. It's just the use of like magnetic stuff and stuff like that. Or the energy or whatever. I don't really know. But these people were like, oh man, what a different experience. And I love that Andor's like it sort of like looks like Star Wars, and then you're just because it all of it looked like TX like George Lucas's
Yeah.
film TH 1138, and I was just like enamored by the role of Cassian and him just being thrown into the mix of things, and that's what happens here. He's just thrown into the mix and having to do best. Like he's always like a survivor, so it's like, well, yes, he's playing the card deck over here. He's got to trick up his sleeve. So like in this episode, we saw him like yeah, he was doing the work and he was invested in the work because they want to move on. Why do you want to laugh?
Sorry. If you
Am I
want my
saying?
honest answer, I was thinking about what I said about the staring contest.
What? Man, all right.
Sorry about it.
That,
Just
all right.
laughing, just laughing at myself. Don't worry, guys.
All right. Yeah,
I
he
just
thinks
threw
of
your
it so
whole
funny.
beautiful piece off track.
Yeah.
But keep going. Cassian is a survivor. He always has a trick up his sleeve. I agree.
Yes. So in between stuff, he would go and start chiseling away at parts to escape. And yeah. So yeah, I know, right? Chiseling is very funny,
Chiseling away.
but like I said, overall, this episode, or actually, I haven't even gotten into that. This episode, this is what I did. I'm like, I got to change things up with me. So I like I think for the first time of this series, I like sat down at my desk throughout the Andor episode on my laptop and just like, just was taking notes, and I was like fully awake because if I went back to the couch in my lounge room, I would have had the same experience last week. I would have knocked out. I would have just been laying there being like, okay, chill, had a couple snacks, whatever, and then just knock out. But here, I was like, we're going to approach this differently. And this episode just did it for me. It was thrilling, and it didn't even have any action in it. That's how good this
Yeah,
series is.
I know, right?
It was so suspenseful. And I was like, there's not even action here. There's not a killer chasing them down the hallways and running after them, or a blaster fight going on, and I'm like on the edge of my seat. It's just all
Yeah.
dialogue and tension, and I'm on the edge of my seat, man. So
And
yeah,
it's
this
better
was
that way. It's better that way, isn't it?
it
Because
it
it's not
it
just
is.
like mind-boggling blasters and explosions everywhere. It's like you're so like enthralled in what's going on. So yeah, that's a good point as well about the action. But
Yeah, literally, this episode had me invested from start to finish, and what more can I ask? Like, there's just aspects that I'm like, oh man, that's so good. And the Mon Mothma stuff again was so,
mm,
oh man, like I saw a meme on Twitter that was like, before that the series started, people were like, oh, I can't wait till my favorite Jedi shows up or whatever. And then now it's like, now that we're in the Andor phase, it's like, I can't wait to get another Mon Mothma scene again. I was like, so true, so true. So
yeah,
we live for those Mon Mothma scenes. But how about you? What are your over thoughts?
yeah.
And yeah, what you think?
I would say I'm not going to start on the Mon Mothma thing because that's the only not so good thing I have to say about this episode. My favorite thing about this episode, we got to see another refresher in Star Wars. It's been a minute. It threw me back to the double agent droid days or whatever that episode of Rebels was called. But no, seriously, this was such a good episode. Just another fantastic episode. This was my favorite like finish to one of the eps, like the just that moment coming full circle with Andy Serkis's character. By the way, I know it's the talk of the town. Everyone's talking about how can we not? How good is Andy Serkis? Like, come on, such a
Amazing.
good actor, and he's not even doing any of his usual like motion capture type things. It's just him, and he's showing his talents on, and his talents are on display because yeah, he's doing a bloody good job. But no, I love this episode. I really think that it's solidified that the Cassian storyline is what's really carrying the show for me. The other storylines, I'm enjoying them a lot. I think the ISB story goes really well hand in hand with what's going on with Cassian because they're so closely linked. Obviously, they're chasing Cassian. But to kind of put my my slightly negative thoughts to the table for a second, I'm getting really sick of Cyril Khan. If I'm going to be honest, I don't care what's going on with him. He seems like a bit of a little creep at the moment, and
Mhm.
it's just like I don't know. I'm not invested in what's going on. I was really happy to just let him go after those first 3 episodes. And then I was like, okay, let's give him a chance. And I feel like I'm just like, oh, we're just dragging our feet with him. What is
Yeah.
even like? I trust that there'll be a good payoff, and you just watch in a few weeks. I'll be saying how good is Cyril Khan, but at this point, I'm just like, I'm getting sick of seeing him week to week, and just not really interested in what's going on with
We're
him.
not getting anything with him.
It seems like the same thing over and over again, which it also is starting to feel like with Mon Mothma. Even though there is a
Oh,
story progressing there, don't get me wrong. I love Mon Mothma. I love what they're doing with her in this
he put
show.
his finger up.
However, however, I think I just think what's happens to her feels like the same thing every week with the husband, the daughter, a bit of secrecy around the apartment, whatever it is. I understand what they're trying to do, but it's feeling really repetitive week to week. However, I'm still loving it, and I'm sure that will, something is going to have payoff with that, all this stuff that we're getting with it. So I'm fine to sit through it, but at this point, I'm like, oh, it's feeling a little repetitive. However, I am still loving it. But man, the Cassian stuff is so good. You didn't think the Empire was bad before? Well, just look at it now. Like this is crazy. Everything that happened in this episode, absolutely loving having Melshi back. I think that's just incredible.
Yeah.
Parks had to point out to me last week that he was even in the series because I didn't even realize. But
I told you
um,
beforehand in the previous podcast episode.
all right, maybe it was you. Sorry,
Oh, I don't know. Whatever.
I'm getting the co-hosts confused. But
Mm.
anyways, but what a banger episode. I just those are my overall thoughts. I'm just rambling at this point, but let's go through the storylines and let's start with Cassian's because I think that was by far the strongest. What did you think of just how that story all played out this episode? We started in a point of he was still kind of just working, doing his thing, and then by the end of it, he's planning his escape because the Empire is corrupt and they're holding prisoners in for a lot longer and pretty much a lot longer than they should and pretty much never letting them go. So, what do you think?
This I was like, oh, here we go with General Ford assembly line again. That's what I thought.
Mm,
And for you, it's like a car assembly line where it's just like it's just repetitive.
yeah, yeah,
But what fascinated me about this concept, it's like literally this is a slave labor camp that we haven't seen before. Because we're used to like, oh, labor camps in the Empire, we usually think Wookiees. So this was like refreshing to see an aspect that it's like, dude, they're literally building legs for an ATST or something, or like an ATAT, or they're building machinery for the Death Star. Like you just don't know. That's the creepy part, and I love that the series doesn't tell you. Because I love in Rebels when we would go to these factories and you saw them assembling TIE fighters and stuff. But what makes this very ominous is that you don't know what they're building. You don't know what part of
yeah,
the Empire this is going to, and they're
yeah.
building it. You don't like you're there for like 15 seconds and they built 3 of these things already. And it's like imagine what all the other groups are doing too, and combined with the hour,
Oh
that's
my god.
scary. That's
Yeah,
scary. So I love that like this bright white setting, but with this dark aspect to it. Like it hits me pretty in a nauseating feeling of like,
yeah,
what are they building, man?
yeah.
But oh my god, the whole uh, Kino in this Andy Serkis's character, I didn't even know the series needed him like that, but it just once he came in, I'm just like, please don't leave. This guy carried the episode for me. I was like so
I agree.
invested into
Yeah,
Cassian, breaking out. I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna get the like Shawshank Redemption
yeah,
type thing. Okay, cool. And then man, when he's talking to him across the rooms in that like, I heard on um oh whatever, I forgot, but the in the room when they're holding cells or in wherever they go to sleep, when
Mm.
he's yelling at him, he's like, "Nobody's listening.
Yeah,
Nobody's listening." Oh my, the chills that I got, I was
yeah.
like, "Oh my god." So,
The way
oh
he's just
man,
like, they just don't care enough to sorry, that was my phone.
they
No,
don't
the way
care
they say
enough to lower their to turn off the ringer, yes.
no, they don't care enough to listen, like, they
Yeah.
just don't care about us, like, yeah, I'm right there with you, like, literal chills when that was
It
going on.
it was chills, and overall, the Cassian story, I mean, it turning out, like, to when, his name's Olaf, I think, when he
Mm,
collapsed,
yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god," because throughout the whole episode, I'm like, "I'm really scared for Olaf right now," because he just kept,
Yeah, yeah.
like, and then it finally happened, and then they have to drag him away, and I was like, "Oh, wow," they're, like, letting Cassian and was it Melshi that was with him?
At the very end,
At the very end.
it was just Cassian and, Kino.
Kino, it wasn't someone, oh, okay, it was just them 2, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, they're letting them stay here. Okay, cool, th maybe the Empire does have some heart and all this stuff," and then the medic comes, and he's like he's basically, just gonna euthanize him, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, where are they going with this?" And it just gets revealed, and as you said, you alluded to the full circle moment of, uh, he has he I love when Cassie knew his moment. So how many guards are there on
Yeah,
each level?
yeah.
And he
He really did know, "Alright, this is the time, this is the
yeah, he just
emotions
knew,
are high, and this is when he's gonna tell me."
and he just
What
knew
way to finish the episode. When they cut the credits, I was just like,
it was great.
"Wow."
It was I
What did he
literally
say? He goes, "No more than
um
12," or something. "Never more than
never
12."
more than 12, yeah,
Yeah.
never more than 12. Instant chills
So
again.
good.
It was
Yeah,
what, because again, we had that, sort of, like, earlier moment and where Cassian started yelling, and then, oh my god, just coming full circle and just having that moment, man, just punch. I was like, "Let's
yeah,
go." It just man,
yeah.
Cassian's character, this whole show, I'm just, like, so digging, like, yeah, what a great moment.
So good.
Um,
He's gonna become so many people's favorite, or not favorite, but or potentially favorite, but top 5, top tier Star Wars character really quickly. I'm already thinking like he's probably in like my top 10, top 20
yeah,
characters
yeah,
like from this show.
same.
Something I just want to say as well about the thing with the doctor. And when he was there and Kino was trying to be like to him, he has 40 days left on his sentence, and he's
Yeah,
like 40, and the doctor's just not listening because he knows it doesn't matter.
it
He's
is
stuck in here
he's
forever. And he's like, he's looking at seriously, 40 days left. Like, we need to just he needs to get through these 40 days. And the doctor's just like, I
no,
don't, and everyone, I don't want to know his name. Don't tell me his name because
exactly.
I'm about to
That was
euthanize him pretty much. So,
That was so cold, and he was asking him like, "Tell me what happened," because it was seeing Kino where he's put in this position, it's like, I if anything, like, of course, like, in our eyes, we saw him as the bad guy, and now it's like, oh, he's just doing what obviously, he's still, it's like, on the if we go on a morality scale, it's like, you could still, like, defect a little, you could still help Cassie and him out, but, like, seeing him have a heart in this moment for Olaf, it's like, "Come on, help him." I was like, "Oh, sh
yeah.
oh, shoot," like, it
It was
just gave you, like,
heartbreaking.
it was
Yeah.
heartbreaking, and it gave you, like, a
Yeah.
new, perspective to Kino, who we just
Yeah.
met. So I
Well,
love
also,
that.
it links in well with Snoke's characteristics because we do know Kino will eventually become Snoke. So,
Yes, of course. Yes, I was waiting for you to bring it up because I was gonna bring it up. Thank you for doing that. Uh,
yeah.
I could
Oh,
still see
man.
that if this show came out back in, before Force Awakens and it was, like, linked,
Or even
the
just before
theories,
Last Jedi.
bef
Yeah.
oh, yeah, before Last Jedi, exactly. The theories would have been skyrocketing. Oh my
Yeah.
god. But, yeah, I'm glad that the buckle's
Yeah.
over. But, when he finally gets the medic to, like, crack and whatever, tell, and this entire time I'm like confused on this bridge. What's going on? They're doing sign language to each other, like hand
Yeah.
signals. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what's going on
Yeah.
level 2? And you hear that a whole group was eliminated, terminated. Why
Yeah.
though? And then we get that answer. It's like, one of them was, he was, like, sent home, but he came
Yeah.
back, and
Yeah.
no
But
one
they
ever
put him in the
leaves.
wrong one.
They
Yeah.
put him in the wrong
I'm
one,
still
and
a little confused about this. So what my understanding is they've said he was meant to be on level 2 or something, and then or on level 4, and then they took him out of level 4, and he was meant to be released. But then, of course, as they do, they just put him back into the system. But then how did they not know that he was just gonna be like, "I was meant to get released, why am I back here?" Like, how did they not know he was just gonna say that? But then they were saying, like, they made a mistake, so I guess that was the mistake that they put him back in the wrong one or something. But then I'm like, you could put him in any Imperial prison and he would have said, I was meant to get released. You know what I mean? So a little bit
Yeah.
confused what's going on there, not gonna lie.
Okay.
Are you with
And
me or do you understand it more than I do?
I think you're pretty stupid right now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm with you. I'm now that you bring that up,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume that's what someone
I
would do in his boots, but yeah.
Yeah. I back Tony Gilroy in to like make this make sense, but at this point I'm kind of like, this was the first episode where there are a lot of moments where I'm kind of like, wait, what is happening right now? I don't understand. A lot of the big stuff, we'll get to that, but that's confusing the hell out of me. This is why you need to watch the episodes more than once. I've only seen all the episodes once at this point. The
Right.
only things I've ever rewatched in Andor were was just the final scene of this episode because I went and rewatched it as soon as I finished it. Um, but yeah, also I loved the scene with Kino talking to one of the guys on Cassian's table and who was trying to do the sign language. And he's like, how can you be talking all this time and you can't even get one word through or like something like that.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus
Jeez.
Christ, this is
Tough day at
intense.
work, huh?
Yeah. What do you make of all that? And what do you make of the sign language?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was very innovative for the prisoners to come up with stuff like that, and it's I mean, they were doing, like, all this stuff and,
Yeah.
through the glass, and I just thought it was pretty cool because I was confused. Did that happen in the previous episode, or was it just this one?
Yeah. No, it did.
Yeah,
They
that's what I
were
thought.
building toward it. Yeah.
So, when it was going on, I mean, yeah, it's, when prisoners are in prison, they create their own languages sometimes in terms of like, either behaviors or stuff like that. It's like, what's going on and this is how they're communicating. And I'm telling you, all those moments on the bridge were very tense. And I was like,
Yeah.
what is going on? It's like, prepare for program. And I was like, what is
Yeah.
going I felt like I was watching like some futuristic movie.
Yeah.
And I just got these, if anything, these moments of when they were signaling to each other just put me on the edge of my seat more just because I was like, "What's going on?" Like, and it was like that build up to a whole squad getting eliminated, and Kino essentially told, "Keep your men in line. Don't ask, don't tell." And I love
No,
that.
someone told that to him, and Keno's like, "What do you mean, keep my men in line?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
yeah,
someone told that to him, and um yeah, exactly, and that's where he started, like, asking more questions, like,
yeah,
"What happened on level 2?" It's like,
yeah,
seeing
yeah,
that eventual progression of him, like, going yelling at the hand signal thing, and then going to
yeah,
him now asking questions. Wow,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
great,
exactly.
you know?
Another thing I want to point out was with Melshi. There was actually a moment in actually I lied a second ago. There's another moment I did rewatch in the last episode, but and I went and rewatched this after this week's episode because me and my girlfriend were trying to like break down the whole thing with what they were saying about figuring out what happened at Aldani, and I was like, okay, I need to revisit this. And I realized in one of the scenes where they were talking in like the bedroom area or where it is, their cells before they have to go in and they like lock the door.
Yeah, that area.
Um, Melshi was like went up to Cassian after they had just sort of been like, "Do you know anything that happened with this heist or something?" And he was like, "Oh, no idea, nothing to do with it." And then Melshi sort of goes up to him. He's like, "They've doubled everyone's sentence. No one's getting out ever. Like you're stuck here." Like so, Melshi, I don't know what's going on, but he knows what's going on because he pretty much said last week, "No one's getting out." Like he's already said it. So yeah,
Mm.
I don't know what to make of that, but Melshi
I
knows what's up.
I feel like Melshi's the type of guy just to not create rumors, but, like, hear one thing and just go with it. I feel
Yeah,
like
true.
I don't know. I feel like that's just
Maybe,
Melshi.
maybe.
That
Yeah.
could be the case, but thank you, investigative Ari and his girlfriend. That's great.
Awesome. But yeah, anything to say about the Andor story from this episode?
Um, I think that about, covers it. I think that, I like I said, I thought the entire thing was brilliant, and I wanna see what next week holds for the Cassian story and what he was chiseling away at. Is it gonna be like an escape route, a certain tool that he's gonna use? I mean, they were already setting it up where the guards were coming down, where it's like, okay, then we would have to jump on now and eliminate the guards.
Yeah.
And I wonder how it's all gonna work with the I mean, I don't just by a press of a button, the prisoner just goes all staticky and falls to the ground and shocked by the floor. So I'm like, how are they
Yeah.
gonna escape? I'm very intrigued. But yeah, nobody's listening. What a
No.
chilling phrase. And then The ending again, I have to say that is one of the most, like, that's one of the best endings in Star Wars ever, period. Like,
It's
that was just
spine
great.
tingling. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
it's
just it
fantastic.
was literally great. Oh, and you know what?
Okay. Okay.
Gotta say
Yeah.
this real quick. Which are what are we gonna talk about
Mhm.
next?
I was
Bix?
gonna say Mon Mothma.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
well,
we can talk about this.
okay, let's talk about Bix here because this
Let's go for it.
correlates. I
Yeah,
just wanna say it.
sure.
I love the brilliant transitions. Oh, we're just about to transition here. I
Yeah.
love the brilliant transitions of Bix screaming, and then it would transition to whining of machinery here in the
Yeah.
at the factory and whatever the camp, the labor
Ooh,
camp. That
yeah.
was again spine tingling, spine chilling. You would hear Big scream, then go to the whining of the metal and whatever, and I was like, oh my god, that was so like that was perfect, but in not the best way possible. Like, that was just oh,
In the
man,
worst way
in the
possible, yeah.
worst way.
Yeah,
Oh, man. So,
man,
yeah.
the stuff with Bix was just horrifying, like, genuinely horrifying. I don't know what's going on with that psycho doctor guy, but holy
What a
crap,
weirdo.
like, that was just what a weirdo. I can't remember exactly the description he gave for those headphone things that she had to wear, but it was pretty much just the recorded sounds of, like, children dying pretty much.
Yeah.
Is that right? That is just man, Star Wars has just taken a gone into a direction I did not think we were going in, but my god. And, I don't know if this was specifically the one you were talking about. I mean, this is more about the acting 'cause I was talking to my brother yesterday. This show just hits on, like, every cylinder, like, acting, writing, cinematography, like, everything is just, like it just hits on every level, and the acting in this show is so good. Obviously, we already said Andy Serkis, Diego Luna, all that, but I don't know the name of the actress, but whoever's playing Bix, like
Yeah.
that performance was incredible. That would not have been easy to do when she went from like you could tell she was like mortified from what was going on, and then she just like unleashes like just like this scream. I was like, wow, like I really feel that. I feel like that's happening to me right now. Like,
Yeah.
man, what'd you make of it all?
It just reminded me of the horrifying screams from was it Triller or oh, it was from Seer Junda from Jedi Fallen Order when she's being tortured.
Mhm. Yeah,
And you just hear her screaming and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty intense. But yeah, the moments here captivating. Again, not in the best way possible, but man, I was just curious what they were doing. Like, I was paying very intently on what they were putting on her on Bix, what they were, what they wanted and stuff. So because Pax sold her out, apparently he told her about the whole operation, or he
yeah.
told what's her name, Deidre, about the whole
That's right.
operation.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
Dedra.
that was after going through the same torture that Bix has just gone through.
Right. So it's like I was curious as to see what she was gonna reveal, but when they I was like, "No, no, do that cop out moment where they don't put the headset on her," but then they do, and then she just starts like holding it in and she starts screaming. Oh, horrifying. I think this episode
Yeah.
should have been released actually a week ago before Halloween. I think that would have been fitting.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
That would have been
true.
fitting. But yeah, all in all, I thought these scenes were very tough to watch. They were very tough
Yeah,
to watch, and I felt sorry for. I remember back in the day when I'm sorry, Star Wars Rebels, Tarkin's. Oh, what's the episode? I can't even remember. I'm so bad with the names now, but Call to Action, I think it was.
yeah. I was
No,
about to say
not
where
called.
he's saying where he cuts the 2 heads off of the Imperial officers.
No, it's the one afterward.
Rebel
Hope,
Resolve?
Rebel Resolve. Yes. Yes, Rebel Resolve. There's a moment where Kanan is being tortured, and you just hear Freddie Prinze Jr. screaming and stuff. And
Yeah,
I remember I had a father in my comments being like, what I'm not a fan of Star Wars is like I'm trying to watch with my kids. Star Wars is meant for kids, and he was complaining about Freddie Prinze Jr.'s scream and whatever, like the torture scenes with Kanan, and that was mild. Here, this was just like all
this is
if
something else, yeah.
this was something else. So it's just like I thought back to that father back in 2014 it was, or 2015. I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
wonder what he thinks now. This must have
Yeah, I
been
mean,
tough.
everyone's different, but I wouldn't want a kid like, everyone is, up to their own opinion on this, but I'm like, "Damn, I wouldn't want, like, a kid, like, under, like, 12 watching this show." Like,
Yeah, no, no,
it's
for
pretty
sure.
full on. But,
Yeah,
yeah. Also, moving on from the Bix thing, Dedra, I again, I actually somewhat similar to how I'm feeling with the Cyril Khan stuff. I don't know if I'm just hating the character because I hate the character because she's so goddamn evil, or if I'm just not really enjoying what they're doing with the character. I think it's a mix of both because similar with the Cyril Khan stuff, I'm kind of like, ugh, this again. Like, I like what she's doing in terms of like with the ISB, but yeah, I don't know how I feel quite with it. However, I'm still very interested in like I'm still like pulled to the story and stuff. And I think I once again don't know the name of the actor. I think she's doing a fantastic job as Dedra. Like
Yes. Dude,
can't say enough about the acting in this series. But
her
yeah,
her facial moments during the big scenes, that was
yeah,
everything. The
yeah,
intimidation that she was putting on,
yeah,
and yeah, I just like I remember clearly just the facial reactions that she was doing to intimidate Bix, and it was literally everything. But it's like it
yeah,
sucks because at the beginning you're almost rooting for Dedra because it's like she's like the only woman there, and they wrote it this way, by the way, Tony
yeah,
Gilroy and company, where it's like she's the only woman in the room and her voice is being silenced constantly. And when she finally
yeah,
gets that victory, you're like, oh
yeah.
wait, you're a
Yeah.
fascist.
It's like yes, yes. Oh
Oh
no.
wait, oh wait, you know.
Like,
So
yeah, yeah,
I had that moment, and constantly I'm like, man, I really like this character, but I'm like, oh wait, I forgot what you do. Just because I love that she was the one that picked up that little inkling and being like, there's something not right here. And now she's like uncovering a whole puzzle piece, and it keeps going back to that stupid um that stolen imperial hardware that we saw in the first
yeah,
episode. It all goes back to that. So I feel like this is what I this is kind of like what Thrawn does, you know? So I'm like, I'm just
yeah,
loving every moment that she's able to, you know, do and stuff. But it's just at the end of the day, I'm like, oh man, she's a fascist and everything. I'm like, I'm not with it. But
yeah,
it's just, you know, at the beginning, like I said, I was rooting for her. And now I'm just like, you are an evil person, but you're damn good at it. You're damn good at it.
yeah. For
But
real.
yeah, seeing it's kind of crazy because she adds to this. Like in Rebels, we saw the Empire being bad and stuff. Like, remember those episodes where it's like, I'm just trying to sell a pair of Yogans here, and then throw the
What, the
basket
first
down.
episode of the
The
series?
first episode, the first moment
I'm
in the
just trying to
series.
set a couple of Yogans.
He gets his basket thrown, and then poor
Uh,
oh, what's the farmer's name? I could
oh, man. Mr.
Sumar,
Sumar, Mr.
Mr.
Sumar.
Sumar, Mr.
Yeah,
Sumar,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mr. Sumar, and he, you know, his whole house gets destroyed. His wife
Bruh,
and him are taken prisoners. Like the Empire, they suck. But in the movies, we
bruh.
never like really saw like the overall impact on the everyday citizens, right?
Yeah,
And in
yeah,
Rebels, we got like more of a scope like that, but nothing like this. Where in Andor,
yeah,
we're like literally seeing the slow incorporation of the Empire, the soul like the slow colonialism or whatever of it,
yeah,
and it's just like damn. And I love that Mon Mothma scenes paralleled that where she's like, where do we realize that our overreach is overreach? And it's like
yeah,
I love that it's just mirroring what's going on in the back or in the yeah pretty much in the background of the series with Aldani and stuff. You know, the Empire just being we're one station here, but then we take over the planet, you know. So
yeah,
it's I absolutely love what Deidre the Deidre's character shows. It's like, yeah, guys, the Empire is effing evil, you know? It's
yeah,
like if you're an Empire stan right now, like if you got the little bumper sticker like go Empire, our families for the Empire in the back of your car, get some help. Just I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. But yeah.
Last time Mike was on the podcast, he was telling people to go outside and touch grass, and now he's telling people to go out and get help. Fair enough, man. I'm with you. I just didn't know we were going that hard on it, but fair
Oh
enough.
man.
Anyway, let's move on to Sarah Khan because I have nothing to
Yep.
say about the storyline, but besides, can we get out of it? I'm so sick of seeing him sitting at that kitchen counter with his mom. I'm just like, oh
I know
come
how many times
on.
have we seen him eat that cereal?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not vibing with it. What do you think though?
There's a couple things. I think that he's a total mama's boy. And it was totally
Very true.
it was just made apparent here. Not that it wasn't before, but I just love that she laid into him being like, I press your clothes, I make you dinner, I rooted
Yeah.
for you when you were on the ground, and when you were high above, you left me, you forsake me. So I love that she like laid into him because I felt like he needed that slap. He needed to be
Yeah,
humbled a little. Because how many people do we know in our lives that we've just like, she picked him up at his lowest moment, and then all of a sudden he's good, forgets about her. It's like how many times
yeah.
does that happen? So I absolutely love that scene because it felt too real. And then I just, yeah, it was the every week like last week. I don't even know why I remember the ending shot was him in like I think the whole offices,
Yeah, in his new big office or
and
whatever
I'm
it
like,
is.
okay, so I think you said it best. We're just trudging with his story. Like it just
Yeah.
feels dragged out. And here I'm just like, when a couple episodes ago there was like this moment where he was looking at a Cassian
Yeah.
hologram, sorry. And I was like, "Oh, man," we were, like, both, like, speculating, "What is he gonna do next?" Like, we're excited for his story, like, where is it gonna go? And then it's just like, we're picking it up here when he talks to
I I honestly think
Dedra.
it would have been so much more effective, his story, if we did not see him after
Yeah.
episode 3, and then in, like, what the finale or the episode before the finale, Dedra's like, I found what we need to find Cassian," and then he walks in the room. We would have been like, "What? No way," but it's like, I don't wanna see him sitting in the kitchen with his mom,
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
we
I
don't.
I actually did enjoy it at first, but now I'm just getting to the point of, "Oh, okay. Yeah, we get it." Like, I don't know. I'm not with it, but
No, it just feels like we're taking up screen time, if
yeah,
anything, where I'm like, we're taking up the runtime, like, "Hey, let's, go back to someone else now," you know? Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Because there's so many scenes of his that I feel like we coulda just cut out. As you said, I think that would work if we just, like, have been like, not with him this entire time, you know? Because we
yeah,
really need to see all the mom stuff and see that he's a mama's boy? Yeah,
yeah. Like, it definitely adds to the character, but it's like, this show's called Andor, and I'd prefer I'd prefer
right.
stick with him, but
We
yeah,
have a lot going on, and I feel like this is one of the things that they don't have to juggle, you know? It's like, you
yeah,
could put the ball down for now.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's talk about the final thing that, we haven't talked about yet, and that is the Mon Mothma stuff. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it, but it's just feeling like a lot of the same thing every week. And I understand there is a story progressing there. What I did love was her scene in the Senate. It was similar to the last one we saw, but it's like, yeah, the Imperial Senate is just hopeless. She seems to be the only one actually saying anything in there. I wonder if the Emperor's even in the room. Like, I don't even know. But
I love
the,
that. Yeah.
yeah, go.
I just wanna say I love that there's a shot that pointed the camera pointed to, like, where he's supposed to be, and he's not there, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Ooh, he's not even there."
it's great. But, um, I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, though, we haven't even mentioned it. We're 37 minutes into this recording. We still haven't mentioned the reveal that Vel is, of course, Mon Mothma's cousin.
Cousin.
Obviously, Vel was, pretty much the leader of the whole Oldani operation. So yeah, that was a big reveal. One that I liked. I liked all their interactions, especially the one. I think as she was leaving, she was like, "What do you want me to do?" And she was like, "Just go out there and be a rich girl for a bit, and like make people think that the last thing you'd be doing is fighting some rebellion or
You're
something."
right.
I really like that. But
It
yeah,
mhm.
it feels like a lot of the same just with the daughter and the father. I'm just like, okay, okay, okay. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, we get it, Perry. You don't it's
Is that
like,
his
yeah,
name?
I think his name is Perry.
Yeah,
Or
right.
he seems like a pompous, but that his name would be like Perry. It'd be, "Hello, Perry." You know what I'm saying? But anyways,
Man, we're just
yeah,
making enemies out here now.
we are. Sorry if your name's Betty out there. But, you know what? I like I actually there is an aspect here that made me love Mon Mothma a bit more, and it's like, or at least her character, or at least like the overall what's going on behind the scenes with the approach to her character. Like I love that her like approach was made to the rebellion. It was a lot more like painstaking than we imagined, because it's like,
Yeah,
and I'm not blaming rebels at all, but it's like we just got like, just like this quick moment, it's like, oh, like, I'm here today, and
yeah,
gather
yeah,
here if you want to help me. And I'm glad they did that, but it's like
yeah,
here I felt like they took a more nuanced approach, and we're slowly building to the aggressions in the Senate, and then we're also getting moments where it's like, man, it wasn't as clean as we thought. Like, she
yeah,
had, we all thought it was like, okay, I rebelled today and now it's my rebellion. No, she's even having turmoil with herself, being like, is this worth it? Like, do we even have enough credits? Like, what are they gonna think of me? Like, she has these moments, and I love that we went back to the Senate and we see more cries for help. And by the way, I wish I could do this every time I disagreed with Ari. Just turn my lights off. Here, I'll do it right now. I just wish I could do that every time I disagreed with Ari. Like, I just wish I could. But that was such a cool moment where they're just turning off the lights, like shunning
Yeah,
her. I was like, "Oh man, what a cool moment." And
yeah.
do you so first of all, what do you think about what I just said? Second, do you think we'll actually see Palpatine show up to one of these Senate hearings?
Uh, I do think we'll see Palpatine eventually in the series. I don't know if it'll be this season, but I think eventually he will show up, and I think it would be a cool reveal if, like, while we're in the Senate, it just like cuts to like the back of his head or something, and then Ian
Yeah.
McDermott's there, and he's like, does the Senate agree on the act of any?" He just like shuts Mon Mothma down or something. I think that'd be great because we need to see
Right.
why she gets to the point of, I just need to leave the Senate. It's not a fight
It,
worth fighting anymore. I need to get on the
right.
battlefield. Um, so that's what I'd say to that. And what was the other thing you said about Mon Mothma? You
What I
liked
had
her
just said
the new
about like
characterization.
yeah, about like the approach
Yeah,
not being so clean as we once thought.
yeah. It's it actually reminds me of the Last Jedi. If I can talk about the Last Jedi for a second, I just watched it yesterday, so it's in my mind. But it reminds me.
Sorry, for audio
It
listeners, I
rem-
turned off my light.
yeah. It reminds me of the way Luke talks about how he was portrayed to the galaxy as like, I became Luke Skywalker, a legend, when really at the end of the day, I'm a kid that grew up on a farm and is gifted with all this natural talent. And I happened to do a few good things, blow up the Death Star, destroy Darth Vader, destroy the Emperor, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, but he's like, I just became a legend because, and it's just not really who I am type thing. And there was all this unrealistic expectation. Anyway, my point is, that's kind of how I feel about Mon Mothma before this series. I was like, Mon Mothma, there's nothing wrong with her. She's an absolute angel. She is the queen of the rebellion. She's been pulling this whole operation together for the last 20 years. And anyway, so it is really strange to see her at her lowest point. Not her lowest point, but just like the more realistic reality that this is for her. It's really really difficult. Obviously, it's affecting her family life. It's affecting her friendships. It's affecting everything. But yeah, so I do agree with that. But at the same time, part of me is like, damn, I miss when Mon Mothma was just like the just an angel that just like saved the galaxy. But yeah,
Yeah,
you go.
I just have to say it to that. That's actually a good. I say that's a reasonable take. I'll give it that. I won't turn off my light. What I did say it when we were first introduced to her family. It's you know, I love that we got to see this side of Mon Mothma. That it's not her lifting everything in grace, right? Not everything,
Yeah,
not her holding everything in grace, because it's
yeah,
like, what if someone came to her house, maybe one of her friends, and they're like, how does she want to, keep the galaxy together if she can't even keep her
yeah,
family together? So
yeah,
it's like, I
exactly.
love that approach because it's like, it also provides her some answers to deal with where she's annoyed with her family. She's like, oh, like just ignore her or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
teenagers. So it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Oh, it's
like,
like, oh, she's just at least she's become political. Like, oh, we can't be
yeah.
bothered listening to her anymore. She's become political.
Exactly. So I don't know, like, for me, it's like, totally see that reasonable, but for me, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I love that it's like, I love Rogue One because we were again showed this glorified rebellion, and that's like, oh, it's we're the good guys, but it's like, are you though? Sometimes
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it could get really dirty with Lieutenant or Captain General Merrick or whatever Draven, Captain Draven, was that his name, from Rogue One, where he was doing scheming in the back, where
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like
You see
Galen
Galen there,
Erso,
so you kill him. Yeah.
you kill him. So it's like,
Yeah.
what after Mon Mothma just said we need to bring him alive, and he
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
complete opposite, killing. So it's like I love that Rogue One did that, and I love that we're seeing here, even with Mon Mothma, living in sometimes dealing with a war in her own house. So yeah, I don't know, like it's and seeing her Shonda, I'm just like I see her and Padme and Bale, they were a trio. So the fact that in Clone Wars we would always see whatever Bale was fighting for would always meet resistance, but he was treated with respect because he was Bail Organa. Padme had more of a, a uphill battle, and Mon Mothma, she was another respected type. So to see that going from respected to just being shunned, being like, "Long live the Empire, go
Yeah.
Empire." How many times has that happened today in today's world where it's like here in the US, like you have, you know, s- Democrats bringing up like actual, reasoning reasonings about stuff, and people are like, "Go this, go that," and it's like you just don't get anything. So I just overall I just love that this show is so Star Wars, but also just it has like a foot in reality, and I just love
Yeah.
that because it's like
But Star
it
Wars always has, you know?
it always has
And
it.
not
Yeah.
no, you go, you go.
No, I just want to say that it's really cool to see, and it just feels like even if every week I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting like a cool Star Wars experience. I'm also getting it feels like I'm getting a touch of reality, like I'm touching grass every week, you know?
Yeah, well, you're exactly right, and it's like, you know, I mean, not to talk politics. I'm not talking politics at all. I'm just saying people always will go, "Oh, don't mix Star Wars with politics," all that stuff. We hear that ad nauseum, but man, Star Wars is one of the most political like franchises out there. Like it is deeply political, and this series feels so Star Wars to me because of the politics in it. You know,
Right.
so
Like
I don't care what your politics are, but this is a very political show, and like that's just that's partly why I personally love it. So
and,
yeah,
people forget that the reason George Lucas created Star Wars was the US was the empire and the rebellion was basically the Viet Cong. So,
yeah,
go back, go study your history in Vietnam.
yeah,
Just saying.
yeah. Anyways, politics and Star Wars. Final thing I want to say about the episode is an interaction with Mon Mothma and the childhood friend. Firstly, I find it very interesting that the whole family's like, oh, like Mon Mothma's old mum's old boyfriend or whatever. Is I
Mhm.
assume they're talking about this guy and like, oh, you know what, he's been around like a lot lately or whatever it is. Um, but anyway, so they do have a conversation in this episode, and he's proposing a solution to her whole money issue, which is we're gonna make a loan, and it's gonna be from this person, and she is seriously upset with the idea. Apparently, that person is a thug. She's not happy with it, and we're seeing some serious moral conflict within Mon Mothma. So I don't know. I just really enjoyed the way that all played out, and you know, Genevieve O'Reilly, fantastic as all the actors are in this show. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah, shout out everyone.
For sure. But yeah, that's Andor episode 9. We're on 3 weeks left of Andor. Can you believe it? Series has seriously flown by. Not to be cliche, but it genuinely has. But yeah, that's our Andor wrap. Before we go, Mike, summarize your thoughts and give us a out of 10 rating. And yeah,
Great episode. Had me at the edge of my seat, and there wasn't even any action. Like that's all I have to say.
yeah,
Yeah, there's just moments that I love. There was hardly any moments that I didn't love. I mean, the Sao Karn, I was like, I was just invested at the time
yeah.
because I'm like, where are we gonna go? I mean, the whole simp scene for Dedra was very weird. I was like, oh, not only is he a mama's boy, but he's also a simp. It's very interesting. Um, never thought I would say that on a Star Wars podcast, but here we
Oh
are.
man, Spyro
Karn
be
is a simp.
simping.
Karn is a
Yeah,
simp. Start the hashtag. And then he like I don't know. He like begs uh Cat Deidre for a chance to catch Cassian, and I'm like, okay, let's just speed this along now. Like I feel like we've been on the same kind of story. It's progression for sure, but I'm like, I want to see that already because it feels like this is
yeah,
going to be drawn out all the way until like season 2. It feels like so.
yeah.
Don't want that to happen, but. Overall, just really, really love this episode. I think this is my favorite episode since the Odani one with the
The
that
Eye, episode
the eye,
6.
yeah,
Yeah.
the cosmic event. I think this is my favorite one since then. Like I just had such a good
Wow.
time with it. That and
Yeah.
that one, that one did feel a lot like Star Wars because you had like blaster action and all this stuff. This was just all dialogue, and I felt the same effect of like tension. That's insane.
Exactly.
That's just brilliant writing. Overall, I would have to give this episode literally like a 9.5 out of 10. Just I want to. This is the episode that I want to go back and rewatch before the next one comes
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
definitely.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think honestly, I've enjoyed the whole series the whole way through, but these
Mhm.
last 4 episodes in particular have really done it for me and just solidified that I'm an Andor stan. I am along for the ride with the series. But oh, you're not happy about that.
No, it's just I've never heard you say "stan," so that is so funny.
Well, I'm trying to just show my appreciation and love and affection for the
He's
show.
trying to show his Twitter lingo. That's what he's trying to do. Yeah.
Oh, oh god, I'm never going on Twitter ever again. I All I'm gonna say is I went to look for thoughts on this episode. After it, when I was like, oh, I wonder what people think. Looked up Andor on Twitter. I'm like, I'm never coming back to this crap hole ever again.
Nope.
Um, But yeah, fantastic. All last 4 weeks have really been fantastic. This was a 9 out of 10 for me for sure. But yeah, loved it. That's Andor episode 9. Episode 10 next week. We're flying through this, Mike. But until then, where can the people find you on the socials and all that?
Horrible, horrible. I have one more thing to say because it's gonna
Okay,
gnaw at me
sorry,
after we
go for it.
record. Sorry for the
Go.
disruption.
Let's
Okay.
hear it.
This was, oh my god, I just have to say this. I like admired how the show displays the ISB working overtime and
Mm.
like I don't know, like on almost tediously because they're working on like very like just like small events. Oh my god, there's a rebel suspect has been captured. We must, do this whole
Oh, we didn't even talk
uh
about that. Yeah,
yeah,
the
this
rebel
whole
pilot.
scheme.
Could that be
Yeah,
someone? Yeah,
I don't know. It was just like, oh, rebel pilot. I don't know. It's like it
yeah. It
kind
was
of like
very ambiguous. They were like, "Oh,
yeah,
we've got a rebel pilot." And I was like,
yeah. It was
I asked
very
my dad, and he's
ambiguous.
like, It's probably Jack Porkins." I was like, "Okay."
No, but they're gonna kill him. It's not. It couldn't be Jack. I
I,
love that answer from your dad. But you know what?
I know.
Well, don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. Let him think he got this one.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
I will. I will.
but I mean, I just love that it had moments like that. But because they were working in these small rebel incidents, that it makes like the events of like the of rebels and the movies even feel grander because it's like the freaking Death Star blew up.
Yeah,
What happened to the little rebel pilot that we caught? It's like
yeah,
you
yeah,
see that? You see the ladder of events? Like even in
yeah,
Rebels when they blew up like the TIE fighter factory in season 4. Do you know how
yeah,
big that is? Imagine Coruscant going crazy with the ISB
yeah,
table
yeah.
being like,
Exactly.
Dedra, we need you over
It's a
there. Like,
great point. Yeah,
yeah, start. I just love because it just made for me, it made the galaxy bigger for Rebels, for the movies. It just made it bigger because
yeah,
there's a whole unit over here working
yeah,
double time, overtime
yeah,
on all this stuff. So it just like I
yeah.
love that absolutely.
I like this little segment that we had for you at the end of the episode. Let's call this Mike's minute, where you
Mike's
just
minute.
interrupt
Please
the
do it.
end flow of the episode, and you're just like, you know what, it's time for Mike's minute. This is my minute, and I've got one more point to make, and this is it.
I had 2, but I'll save that for next week. No, I'm just kidding. Actually,
Save it for next
actually,
week's minute.
actually, this is Ari's minute now. Look at what Ari got me for my birthday. This
Look at what
is
Mike got me for my birthday.
so we're
We
both
bought each
wearing.
other hoodies. By the way, shout out to Mike. It was his
Oh,
24th birthday the other day. Yeah, it was a while ago. I meant to shout him out on last week's pods, but he didn't make it. So
I was a no-show.
um, yeah, but happy birthday to Mike. We absolutely love you here, buddy. I love you lots, and yeah, you're a dear friend. And man, happy birthday. I hope it was all good. All a good birthday. I got to talk to you for a few hours, which is great. But yeah, shout out to Mike. Love and appreciation to you, and yeah, more Mike's minute segments coming
To
up.
come in. Thank you, Ari, and thank you to everybody. Showing me the whole SW Exchange community. Showing me on my birthday and all my
Mhm.
friends on Instagram, and had a great time. And I made some time for Ari. 30 minutes. We had a
Yeah,
conversation, and then after the
great.
party, after my birthday dinner and everything, after everyone left, we talked for like 6 hours on the phone.
It's
6 hours.
a
So I
good
had
little
to
birthday hangout.
had
Yeah.
to had to make room for my buddy here, but yeah, six
Yeah.
hours. So just that was pretty intense. But no, seriously, guys, Andor, as Ari was saying,
Yeah.
just want to switch up. Sorry. Thank you
Yeah,
everyone
no, no,
for the
no,
birthday
no.
wishes. Thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. Like I said,
Yeah.
got this. Oh, and by the way, shout out Shane. He brought
Oh,
this.
yes.
Shout
Keep
out
forget
Shane.
to mention that at the start. Shout out
Shout
to
out Shane.
Shane. I'm
Shout
sure
out
he's
Shane.
still here listening, so good
Yeah,
thing
Shane.
we're
Oh,
cool.
we love Shane. Thank you. Shout out
Yeah,
Shane for giving me the Andor thing. I just so
yeah.
appreciative. And like I said, Ari got me this sweatshirt, and Del Rey sent me this.
Oh, man, I need to check my front door still. I don't know if
Star
mine's
Wars
coming yet.
Convergence. But anyways, yeah, been
Sweet.
awesome, and it's good to be back. I appreciate the support that you guys give to Ari when I'm not here, and when I'm here, it's cool too. But yeah, I appreciate it. We have this podcast. Yeah, there's going to be bumps along the way with life and stuff, but this is a long term thing for us. Like when Ari
Yeah,
was here in Chicago, we just were like, this is what I want to do, like in person
yeah,
in the
yeah,
future. Like that's our plan to do in person podcasts. It's not,
yeah,
you know, we eventually grow up and we can decide and move to different places. So it's like
yeah,
we would love to do this on a basis where we're in the same room, recordings from one mic or something. So yeah,
yeah.
like just expect
More
that.
I'll say this, more in-person podcast coming very soon. So stay tuned.
Yes, yes. So shout out to you guys. I want to take this moment
Yeah,
of my life celebration to celebrate with all of you. And you know, it's it's been a ride. So thank you for being on it.
Sure has. I'll ask you again. Where can the people find you on the socials?
You know what? Follow me all underscore Star Wars on Instagram. And if you want to see me be liking stuff on Twitter and that's it, check that out as well because I don't tweet anything. And make sure to follow the podcast page because it's just a lot of fun on there all the time. So check out the SW Exchange on Instagram. How about you, Ari? Where can people keep up with you if they want to talk Mon Moth? Oh, sorry, you don't like this storyline. Where can people find you if they want to talk more Andor?
Find me on Instagram at Star Wars _exchange. And also make sure you subscribe to the Star Wars Exchange on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating on all the platforms. Follow, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Mike, for coming back. It's good to have you back, buddy.
Thank you
We'll
for
see you
having me.
again next week. But yeah, see you guys next week. May the force be with you. Adios.
Adios.